Unfiltered, the official Sunderland AFC podcast.
Welcome to SAFC Unfiltered. Myself and Danny are back at the Academy of Light for yet another podcast. You lucky people. This time we are speaking to a bit of a legend in the women's game, Jill Scott, Danny.
Yeah, it'd be good to have a catch up with Jill. Obviously, I think that people will know her well from recent adventures in Australia. Done well in the jungle, picked up the crown there, didn't she? And obviously had a good summer as well with England and winning the Euros. So good to catch up with her.
Yeah, definitely. We'll speak about her career and maybe what she wants to do in the future as well when it comes to football. Sunderland, of course, were held to a 1-1 draw at the weekend, Danny, down at the Den, and it was a pretty scrappy game to say the least.
It was indeed, yeah. I think we thought it was 50-odd fouls in the game. It was stop-start, wasn't it? Weren't at our best, but I think sometimes you give credit to the opposition, and Millwall played the game their way. Direct team, and it come about their goal really as well, didn't it? In that style, with Big Cooper getting on the end of one, albeit on his backside on the floor. But no, credit to the boys, they dug in, and it was a good goal from it. Dennis, brave, got his head in there, didn't know much about it. But yeah, it was good to come away with the point in the end, I think.
Yeah, we're going to head inside the Academy of Light now. It's a very bright and calm day up here at the Academy, which is quite rare. A lovely day to go and have a sit down with Jill. Welcome to SAFC Unfiltered. Delighted to be joined by Jill Scott. Jill, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, thank you. All good.
Yeah, obviously, after your own podcast, this is your favourite podcast, right?
Yeah, of course. We'll get that in there.
Yeah, I don't know where to start. We'll start with the jungle thing, because this was a huge thing. You became internationally more famous than you already were for your success in football. How was that as an experience?
Well, it shows kind of the way of the world, doesn't it? That I suppose winning the Euros, and then obviously that took like 16 years international career to get that success. And then I went on a reality TV show for 3 weeks, and it's like you're more well known for that. But yeah, it was a great experience. I think I've spoke about it before. I made a lot of good friends. It's a very intense experience. You're like in there for, say, 16 hours a day, you're awake, and I think the viewers probably seen 20 minutes of that. Yeah. So there is a lot of times when you're a little bit bored, you are hungry as well. I think people did see that, and people keep saying to us, did they feed you on the slide? But they definitely don't.
I was going to mention that. I think it was Harry Redknapp said it a couple of years ago, didn't he? Said I was expecting a bacon butty or something and the cameras would go off, but nothing.
Nothing at all. So yeah, you wake up, rice and beans, lunchtime rice and beans, and then obviously whatever you'd won on the night, which would be like crocodile's feet or something. But it's something that you would never ever experience, and as I say, the friendships that I've taken out of it is something that mean a lot to us.
I guess so, because you've got nothing else to do but to get to know these people inside and out.
Yeah, it's accelerated. Like, your friendships have accelerated so quickly because there's no mobile phones, there's no iPads. Like, so I feel like I remember talking to Owen on the first day, and I reckon within 2 days I could have told you anything about his family. We spoke about football a lot. He got us through chatting about, we discussed our best ever 11 Premier League teams and just like little games all the time. But yeah, friendships are definitely accelerated in there.
I think the cooking causes the most arguments in the jungle, doesn't it? There's always arguments every series you watch, and who's doing the cooking and portions, what spices they're putting on and stuff.
I think the best way to talk about the food is, when you're home on a night and you're a bit bored, you just eat, don't you? You're like, I haven't stopped eating tonight. And it was like that 24/7. So you're just thinking about the food, but there's no food to access. So I think the viewers at home were probably like, they're whinging all the time that they're hungry, but it's because it's like the only thing on your mind.
And with yourself being an athlete, obviously over the years, you're used to eating a lot, aren't you? Your training and your protein shakes and all that. And then, as you say, about you're sick of rice and beans. Now when you do your shopping in one of the supermarkets, you walk down that aisle, you're getting the flashbacks.
Yeah, and I think it's obviously very fortunate that I've never kind of had to go without food or like had to diet, because I was always the type of player, because I played midfield, if I had like 3 games a week, that was like 33k a week plus your training. So I always had to eat loads and also a little bit of rubbish as well, else I wouldn't have got the calories in. So yeah, I think that's why me and Owen reckons he ate 6 stir fries a day or something like that. So he was hungry a lot as well.
He was moaning about the food the most on there, wasn't he? Yeah.
Did you know everyone who was in the jungle with you, or was it up to you to go and find out who they were and what they were all about, or did you know all their profiles?
No, not really. I went into it kind of really naive. I didn't do any research. I was quite busy leading up to it, so it was just like, right, itinerary next week, you've got a podcast, you've got an interview, you're going in the jungle. And I was like, I hadn't even like researched it. And also one thing I found out about myself being in there is like football and sport is just what my whole life has been. So like everything else around that, I kind of haven't really taken into account, say, politics. I do like music, but there was loads of people in there, comedians, and just kind of got to know a lot about like different areas. Coronation Street, I'm a massive fan, so as soon as Sue walked in, I was like, oh my God, there's Eileen. But yeah.
Did you call it Eileen by mistake a few times?
You expect that just to be a character in Coronation Street. Obviously, she's not. So it was nice to get to know people on that personal level.
No, that's excellent. And you obviously, you won, and you know the life will probably change forever as well because of that as well. And you know, going into it, did you think that you had a realistic chance of winning?
I didn't really think about winning. I've never really been that type of person, and also, same as football, there was quite a few things between the two, like sport and the jungle, that could cross over. So I felt like we were part of a team. Obviously, when you went out for your trials and challenges, that was like having a football match. Do you win? Do you lose? And then the group benefit by the person that goes off to do the trial. So I always think it's a bit unfair that there's a winner, because you are a group trying to get through it. It's like when they pick a player of the match at the end of the game. Like, I think it takes everybody, whether it's always a goal scorer, isn't it? But if you haven't got the keeper keeping them out, the people assisting. So I never went in there with the aim of winning. And I know people say, oh, your life's changed and whatever else. And there has been changes, but I don't feel like that myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm still just Jill.
It's interesting though, you were saying that you weren't really aware of some of the people's profiles because you were so just targeted on your profession at the time, and you've had such a long career, and you must have, now you're not doing that day to day. Is that so strange that you're not in the routine? Danny, you've spoke about this since you retired. You miss just getting up, grabbing your kit bag, heading in, getting on the grass, that kind of thing. Do you miss that?
You know what? I think what's really surprised us the most is at the moment I haven't. I really miss being around the girls. I do really miss that. Like,
you've been so busy though, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so. And I think one thing that I say is when I played, maybe because I did have to work and play football till a certain age, I've always kept myself busy doing other things. I've got the coffee shop. I've always done football coaching. So I never got in once we turned professional at 2:00 and just sat down and did nothing. I was always doing stuff. So I don't know if that's helped with this transition, or I'm going to wake up one day and be really struggling. So I don't know. But at the minute, I do feel okay.
Did you go into the Euros knowing that you were going to retire at the end?
In the back of my head, yeah. I was really struggling with my knee. I was so lucky in my career. I didn't have an injury my whole career, really. I think I missed 10 days the whole time.
Wow.
So seeing some of the girls go through ACLs, broken legs, like I was so lucky. And going into the Euros, my knee started to flare up, and I'd literally be training at the Euros, say 2-3 days, and then I'd have to spend a full day just trying to get the swelling off my knee. So I think in the back of my mind, even though I didn't play loads in the Euros, I think I knew that it was a big push just being part of the squad. Even training every day with some of the players that are in that team, that was a challenge.
Right.
So I think I knew I knew in the back of my mind, but I hadn't said it out loud.
And to go out on a high as well by winning it. But as you say there, for you, was it 10 days you think you spent out in your career? That's some going over your length of your career for a centre midfielder as well.
I did have some scans after, and they were like, you do know you've got no ligaments left in your ankle. So I think it was some cases it was just strap it up and just play and get on with it. But I also say as well, I never got hamstring injuries because I wasn't fast enough. It's usually the fast
the quick
players,
ones,
isn't
fast
it?
twitch fibers.
So I know I was very, very lucky in that sense.
31st of July, you created history by being part of that squad that won the Euros. Just what was it like to play in the tournament and that game?
Oh, it was incredible. I think that all the tournaments that I'd been part of previously, to have a home tournament, kind of experienced it 2012 at the Olympics, but I remember being at Wembley against Brazil in the Olympics, and it was full, but a lot of people were there because they just wanted to get tickets for the Olympics, whereas to have 90,000 people buy tickets for women's football football, played Germany. It's like, you just, honestly, I can't put that moment into words, and I haven't even watched it back because it's just, there's so much emotion inside of us. It's just, it really is. I know it sounds cheesy, but just such a dream come true.
I don't only compare it to something like Euro 96, where like the whole nation were behind the squad, and everyone was tuned in. If they were lucky enough to get a ticket, there was people in every single game, you know what I mean? And you know, it was just incredible to watch. And did you feel that the nation was behind you?
Yeah, really did. And I think I speak about the tournaments that I played in. I think I did 4 World Cups, 4 Euros, 2 Olympics. But I also lived them England tournaments as a fan. Like Michael Owen's moment against Argentina, David Beckham getting sent off. I'm like the biggest England fan. So I feel like when we won that tournament, I won it as a player and a lifelong England fan, and that's why it's just such an incredible moment. Obviously, we're on a podcast, but I have the most horrendous tattoo now with a big lioness and the date that we won. I think it was a drunken night out, but it just means so much to us.
When you're in the camp, though, are you and the squad encouraged to stay focused and not listen to outside noise, or did it help in a way?
Everyone was just so relaxed. That tournament had like such a relaxed feel about it. We had a lot of younger players who I think they thought, oh, this is just what happens. You come to tournaments, you win. And I was like, this isn't just.
Were you
what
one of the favourites as well to go and win it?
Yeah, I think we
yeah.
were. And I used to sit there, would be having, because you're in a tournament, people see you for the game, but you're away for like 5-6 weeks. And the girls were just so relaxed, would have coffees, would work so hard in training, but it just felt like something was going to happen. And I was probably getting a bit anxious and wanting to be going around going, are you feeling okay? You feeling okay? But I just wanted to be like, no, let's just go along with it. And yeah, it was just the perfect tournament. It really was.
Were you based at St George's Park mainly then, or were you travelling different hotels?
No, so we were at a place called the Lensbury, which is in Teddington. So we stayed there. We were away from everyone. It was quite secluded. We had like some time off. But it was mad because we'd been walking for coffees like every day when we had like a couple of hours off. Nice little walk, get a coffee, back for training. And the morning after we won it, I remember I didn't sleep, and I texted a couple of the girls and was like, anybody fancy a coffee? And we did that same walk that we'd been doing for the last 5-6 weeks, and the cars were beeping. Walked past the newsagents, there was just articles everywhere, and I was like, oh my God, what happened yesterday?
Realise how big it is.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. How important was Serena Wiegman to the success of the squad?
Oh, so important. I think that like chilled environment is what she created, but then also with that high demand on performance, so whether it was training, games, there was always a high pressure that we had to do well. But she was so good. I've spoken about this quite a lot recently, but like just I felt like the players knew where they stood, the staff felt trusted, sports scientists, medical, assistant coaches, everybody knew their job, and it was like, you get on with that. No grey areas, everything black and white, and then when we come together for game day, everyone knows what's happening. And it was almost like, you know, in football sometimes there's a lot of energy wasted on environment, something's going on. It just felt like everyone could keep their energy for their bit, and therefore it just worked.
Is she quite full on? Is she quite hands on in the run up to a game?
You know what? She's the nicest person. Like, you could sit like this and chat to her about family. She'd have a coffee. But there was also, I said this to her this week actually, I said there was also that fear factor when you went out to train. You wanted to do well, like you didn't want to annoy her. But I remember her even saying to me, I think she'd been in charge a year, and I don't think she had to like tell us off or anything once. Like, everything was just going according to plan. But I do think that was mainly because she had a plan for everything as well.
So was she full on hands on in terms of taking the training, or leave it to the coaches, maybe do a bit of shape up?
No, we had an assistant coach who did a lot as well, but she wasn't shy of stepping in and being like, they worked really well together. She'd brought him in, Arjan along with her, and they were just a really good team. But what I liked, and in the past I've seen managers and assistants and they're like best of friends, and sometimes I think that just doesn't work, because you need someone who's going to challenge you. And if you're, say, if I ever went into management, I know I'm very unorganised, I'm not really like a logical thinker, so I'd want an assistant
to do that side of it for you.
And I think sometimes admitting your weaknesses is a massive strength.
There's only Farrah Williams got more England caps than you. Was it special every time you pulled on an England shirt?
Yeah, it was so special, so special. From the first one to the last one. I still can't believe that I played that many times. Farrah deserves the most caps. She it was such an incredible player. She taught me so much playing alongside her in midfield. But yeah, I remember when I reached 150, and it was in COVID times actually, so there was nobody there, but it was just such a special moment to reach that amount of caps. And yeah, I never took any game for granted, whether we were playing a team that we were going to beat 9, 10, 11-0 to playing Germany in a final. Every game just meant so much.
Now, you touched upon your coffee runs before. We understand yourself and your partner involved in running the coffee shop Box to Box, of course, in Manchester. The question is, though, what kind of coffee do you get? What would you get if you were going to get a coffee right now? What would you get?
Flat white. And to be honest, last week we had Roy Keane in. Roy Keane came in and we were chatting.
His old boss?
Yeah, we were chatting about Sunderland.
Good.
And I just absolutely loved it. He was chatting about when he was Sunderland manager, and yeah, it was just great.
He's a little bit more relaxed when the cameras aren't on, isn't he, to be fair?
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. You know what? I was always a bit apprehensive about meeting him. Yeah, because I always wanted to play midfield because of players like him, and I think like I had that side was I was never the best player, so I knew I had to smash people. And
we've seen that in the final.
A little bit of too much passion. But so when I met him, I was like, they say don't meet your heroes, but he's such a nice guy. Such a nice guy.
No, Danny, you would always get some kind of a latte with caramel or something like that. That's your favourite, isn't it?
Yeah, but quite heavy on the calories, aren't they now? So I've got to try and ease off on them. Now I'm not playing. So what's the calories? But yeah, that'll be me.
Caramel latte.
Yeah,
caramel
it's a bit of a Nana's drink there, isn't it?
They always say in independent coffee shops that like if they ask for like syrups, you're not a proper coffee drinker.
Right.
How would my order of a flat white with oat milk go down?
Yeah, no,
that's pretty standard
fine.
these days.
That's pretty like you'd be cool. Coming in the shop.
He's one of them holding the queue up though, isn't he? Where they've got to get everything off the shelf.
Yeah, it's one of them when they come in and they go, can I have a half a shot flat white with soya milk and a shot of caramel and sugar free, and I'm like,
glass of water with ice next to it, as well. All right, okay, we've touched upon that, but we're going to look back a little bit at your career, and obviously you played over 100 times, so Manchester City as well as Everton, but it was Sunderland where you started your career, where we're recording this podcast this afternoon up at the Academy. I guess the game was completely different when you started at Sunderland to what it is right now.
Oh yeah, it's changed so much. Like, I've been a Sunderland fan. I had a season ticket from the age of 9, so even coming here today is special. I'm like, the players in and stuff like that. But yeah, when we were younger, it was a lot of, I probably had your old kit, to be honest. But
I feel old.
We used to get just a bag of kit that the men had.
Yeah.
And I remember you'd rake through, and I think there was a physio called like Jockey Scott back in the day, so I used to look for the GS and wear the kit.
Nice.
But the red Reg Vardy jumpers, that
that's
turned
it.
pink, the blue
60-degree wash had done the colour.
Yeah, and they'd gone so bobbly, they weren't even warm anymore. But being here now, obviously the women's team, the training facilities, stuff like that. We were at the back of the Charlie Hurley for years, just on a field. There was no toilets, nothing. They used to just run us. We just used to do 12-minute runs, and it was horrendous, but also the best days. Like the team togetherness that we had was incredible. So I've got some great memories, but to see how much the game's grown now, like we'd be training 7 till 9 on them pitches in the pitch black. We would never have daytime slots because people were at work. So yeah, it's just amazing.
And before that, I think, Jill, we're quite a similar age. I remember being at school and playing like football at school, and there'd maybe if you played 6 games, you'd see one girl in a team for a school team. Yeah. Was that the situation you were in as well?
Yeah.
Were you having to play with the boys?
Yeah, I was the only girl. So Mouth School obviously backs out of here, so I used to be able to see the academy. Cross-country runs, I remember, for the school. But yeah, I was always one of the only girls. And then they did make a girls' football team on the back of a couple of us saying we'll play football, which was brilliant. But just the changes, you can't even, it's just like night and day now, it really is, and that's why I'm so excited for the future. But I do see a lot that I think it's nice to reflect sometimes, because you always get asked about, but the men's game this, the men's game that, and I'm like, it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
If you keep comparing yourself to the men's game, we're always going to fall short. And it's like, let's just be kind of happy with our progression and excited for the future.
And it's grown massively, isn't it? As you say, winning the Euros has catapulted it as well, and you can see now it's on the telly, and it's really growing.
I think it's just that respect element. Like when I say to myself that people used to have a problem with girls playing football, it's like, why can't, if boys want to play football, girls want to play football, they just play. And it's as simple as that. And I think we've had to work so many years to get that respect on the game. And I think finally, off winning this Euros, we've done that.
So, and I guess you were a pioneer, really, and your legacy will reflect that. But do you get a little bit maybe jealous if you go to like a goals or something now, or you go to like an academy now and you see girls teams with all the gear and managers and coaches? Do you think, oh, if this, I would have been like Pele or something if I had this backing?
No, I definitely wouldn't have been. To be honest with you, I don't, because my journey, I might not have even kind of gone on to have the journey that I've had. No, I don't get jealous at all. People say that, they're like, would you go back to being 17, 18, signing a full-time contract? But you know what, I wouldn't. Like, my journey in them early days weren't fully professional, so I still had a bit of a social life as well, which I think was important. And now you've literally got to be, the girls from the age of 16, 17, 18, they've just got to be on it all the time. So I wouldn't change my journey, and I'm just so glad that they don't have to travel from Sunderland to Liverpool 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to get back from work. Like, I'm happy that they can just concentrate on the football.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something gone into your mentality as you've gone through your career. But maybe is there a kind of a northern mentality in women's football because the success of the northern players?
Yeah, I think being up here, like, I definitely had that grit of like...
What is it though? Trying to prove to people?
I don't know. I think like when like playing on the horrible pitches, the rubbish weather, like you do become like robust, and you do have this mentality like don't wear gloves and stuff like that.
Don't look weak.
And you get down south, like I never would wear like a snood or like legging things for training. I'm like, no, we're training, and that was just in you. I think it is just that northeast mentality. Like, don't get us wrong, I'm soft as anything away from the pitch. I think because there's a referee, I felt like I could start fights and stuff like that, so I was always protected. But
to be fair, when I moved on elsewhere in my career from being up here for 6 years, and I'd go out training t-shirt, I hated having the hats and everyone too claustrophobic, and then the lads would say, you're not cold. I said, I've played up there for 6 years, I'm used to this weather now, do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
You do, don't you?
It's so true, it's so true. It just builds like something in you, and you don't want to be classed as soft. But yeah, there's so many obviously great players came from the northeast, and the women's game, there's so many went on to play for England, and that's why I hope we can get Sunderland back in the top league.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite a fall, wasn't it, in recent years, and Mel's doing her best with her team and people around her now to get Sunderland back in, WSL where they should be because of the legacy of the players which have came through this club.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think I do soccer camps around the country, and I make no secret of when I'm in the northeast, the talent is incredible. Like, it's so good. And I think it's good that we've got Durham obviously in the WSL, but I just think if we could get Sunderland into that top league, it's just something for them young girls to aspire to. And imagine like supporting Sunderland and then becoming a Sunderland player. For them, it'd just be fantastic, and I think that opportunity should be there.
Yeah. Is there anything immediately that could just be changed, do you think, to make the women's game grow even bigger, or is there any hurdles which you think could be easily knocked down with, I don't know, legislation or some kind of financial help? Or
yeah, I think the financial side always, but I do think one thing with the women's game is at the same time you don't just want somebody to kind of plug loads of money in, because I think if somebody just puts you up there straight away, you can then get taken straight back down. So I think we need to build it in the right way. Like, if you have part-time players and some players full-time, can you get everyone full-time and just keep making them gradual changes? And not that it has to be done slowly, but I think it has to be done right, because you want it to be sustainable, and for it to have kind of people that have long careers. So I think we're getting to the point now. I'm not one of these where I'm like, all females should be coaching, managing, like physios, but I think it's equal opportunity. So if we can get female physios, sports scientists, like even if you're not a footballer, there's different opportunities in football. But yeah, I just think that there's definitely things that can be done and can be better, but we have to make sure they're done the right way.
Yeah, no, so obviously moving forward, Jill, obviously we've mentioned your coffee shop and you're down based in Manchester, but if Mel give you a shout, would you come along? You're obviously doing some coaching academy stuff, you said soccer school stuff. Would you look at going into it full time? Is it not for you, coaching,
you know what?
management?
I do want to. I'm getting back on the grass from next week down in Manchester, just with us obviously living there, and I would love to love to go back into it, but I just think because I've gone from being in football every single day, I'm kind of enjoying this little bit
coming
of
away
time.
from it a little bit. Yeah.
But I was at a grassroots event the other day and I just couldn't help get my boots on, coach the teams. Like I do love it. But yeah, I would love it. I said even about kind of breaking them barriers in the men's game. I think I'm going to be doing a bit of coaching with a boys' academy, and I think it's important just to kind of be visible in that, because I don't think there's a lot of female coaches in the boys' game. So I
Not
think
many
that
female
is-
staff, to be honest, is
no,
there?
there's not, and I think that's something where, again, I'm not like banging the drum that it should be all females, but I think there is females that are good enough to do it. So that is one barrier that I would like to kind of break down a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's Emma Hayes at Chelsea. She's been mentioned, linked with a few jobs in the men's game, hasn't she, over the last couple of seasons? I can't remember if it was a team.
But I spoke about that
Yeah.
recently in an interview, because I said she's obviously been managing Chelsea. They've had all this success, have won FA Cups, have won leagues, and I hate then how they go, oh, she could get an opportunity in the men's game, and then they mention like League Two teams.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why does it have to be like that?
Why that level as such, yeah.
Yeah, like they suddenly like drop it down 3 leagues. But yeah, I think that's where I always say with females that work in male-dominated environments across anything, I'm like, by being visible, you are changing dreams of younger girls who think, oh, well, I can do that when I'm older. So just by being visible, I think that's the biggest thing to do.
On the SAFC Unfiltered podcast, it's tradition for the guests to take part in Danny's general knowledge quiz, which he likes to throw at the guests. Last week it was Kieran Richardson. Today it's you, Jill. Are you prepared
I'm
for this?
terrible at general knowledge.
Well, sometimes he mixes it up and puts one in about your career. Has he done that?
Sort of about Jill's career, yeah.
Right,
Not
okay,
on the
then.
football pitch, though. But
Oh,
we'll see.
God.
So, yeah, 5 questions.
See how you get on.
Mixed subjects, Jill. But the first question is, we're back in the jungle. So, you won I'm a Celebrity in 2022 at the 22nd person to wear the jungle crown. But have there been more male or females that have won I'm a Celebrity?
I'm going to go males.
12 males, 10 females, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you always been a fan? Have you always been a fan of the program?
You know what? I'm not one of these that sit in and watch TV like every night. So I'd see the odd episode, but I'm not one of these that's like, we have to be in at 9 o'clock because this program's on.
Yeah.
What was the worst thing we didn't ask that before? Did you do one of the eating challenges on there?
Crushed goat's testicles. I can't even describe. Oh, it's disgusting.
You can't get them down Roker Seafront, can you?
Not yet.
The fish and chip shop. I'll have crushed goat's testicles and a bag of chips.
Battered bits. Dear, good start. Question number 2. What type of berries are used to flavour gin?
Wouldn't have a clue. I'm not really a drinker.
Oh, you're not?
No. Blackberries.
Juniper berries.
I've never
Tough
even
one,
heard of
that,
them.
Yeah, juniper berries.
I've only heard of them because I know they're in gin. I've never seen a juniper berry. I couldn't tell you
My
what
mum
they
would
look
have
like.
got that one right.
There you are. Right, question number 3. We're on the tennis court now, Jill. Dirty tennis?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wimbledon?
A little bit.
Oh,
No.
oh. Right, well, anyway, question number 3. What is the name of the ladies' singles winners' trophy at Wimbledon?
I haven't got a clue.
Do you know what it
What's
looks
the
like?
men's called?
I don't know what the men's is called, if it's got a name, but the ladies, it's round, isn't it? You know when they...
Around.
It's-
The something plate.
Oh,
Do you know it?
no, but I'd go along with
Yeah.
that. Something plate.
It's
The dinner plate.
it's the Venus rosewater dish.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just not even a plate.
Venus
It's a dish.
rosewater
Venus,
dish.
is that after Venus?
No, I think it's just... I'm sure it's just been named that since day dot. Yeah, the Venus rosewater dish.
I'm
Yeah.
terrible at general
wouldn't-
knowledge. You know when you're in a pub and
Yeah.
the quiz comes on, I just want to hide in the
Not for
corner.
you. Music round even,
The only
or...
thing I'm good at is thinking of an innuendo for the team name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Only part.
Try and get a point for that. All right, back on the football pitch, Jill.
Okay.
Question number 4. How tall in feet is a football goal? Is it, I'm giving you a multiple choice, 7 feet, 8 feet, or 9 feet?
Right, if a goalkeeper's about 6 foot, they do
You
that.
can touch it. Yeah.
What was it? What was the multi-choice?
7 foot, 8 foot, or 9 foot?
8.
8 foot is correct.
Yes.
There you go.
For
Middle
people
of
that
the
can't
road.
see, I've got my hands in the air. like
Yeah. How tall are you?
1.81 metres. What's that? Just under 6 foot.
Just under 6 foot, yeah. Tall.
I think men always say,
Yeah.
it's funny, I was with Owen from the jungle the other day and I think we're the same height and I say I'm 5'11" and he says he's 6'2".
6 foot. Oh, is he? Right. With his heels on.
I'm trying to take the height
Yeah.
down. and he's
Down.
put it back up.
Last one.
And the last one, yeah. New York City lies at the foot of which river? What's the name of the river?
I'm terrible with stuff like this.
There's a film.
There is a film, yeah.
When he lands the plane on the river.
Have you seen it? Tom Hanks.
No, I don't know.
Sully's the name of the film you're thinking of.
Yeah, but I didn't think that
I'm
was the name of
so
the film.
bad with rivers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Not going to get it.
No.
The Hudson. The Hudson
Miracle
River.
on the
I like that
Hudson.
name,
Miracle on the Hudson, yeah.
Oh, well, I got 2.
Yeah,
What
2.
did Kieran
Steady
Richardson get?
Did he get 2 or 3, Kieran?
2 or 3.
I think you helped them out, though, didn't you?
I did. I give him one with the code for Birmingham, didn't I?
No.
The area code, and I said you actually played it in and around
I'll
that area.
take 2 because I thought I was going to get 2.
2's all right.
There we go.
Lyndon Gucci's got the record, 5 out of 5.
Really?
Didn't say
Yeah, he
that
got 5,
coming.
Lyndon, yeah.
Is he bright?
Apparently not.
He didn't say so himself. He said he'd be happy with 1, and he ticked them all off, 5 out of 5.
You're
Yeah,
trying to be polite there. Is he bright? Apparently not.
yeah. So, but we thought Dan Neil was bright, didn't we? And then when we spoke to Corey, and
Yeah.
Corey said, no, he's not.
Yeah, he's
So,
not right.
But
You did well there. Well done, Jill. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
No,
I know you've
thank
got a
you.
busy schedule while you're in the Northeast. You're a legend in these parts, and what you've achieved over the last 6 or 7 months has just gone on to cement that. So
Thank
hopefully
you.
we'll see you up here again soon. And enjoy your time in the
yeah,
Northeast.
thanks, Jill.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are back outside of the Academy of Light, having spoke to a legend of the women's game. And that was Jill Scott, of course. That was fantastic. It was just like having a chat with an old friend, wasn't it?
Yeah, and exactly what I thought, really. Didn't know much about Jill until I seen her on The Jungle in terms of a character, a personality, and that's how she come across in there. I think obviously football days behind her now. She's looking forward. She's been busy, hasn't she? A lot of stuff since she finished playing. Obviously The Jungle and 1 or 2 other events she's had to attend. But yeah, I think she's got a bright future ahead of her, whether she wants to go into coaching or media or, whatever else comes her way, really.
Yeah, I said she's a legend of the women's game, but really though, she's a pioneer in football, isn't she? For what she's achieved to date, and you could imagine her going on, can't you, and having a career and an important voice in football.
I think so, yeah. And just chatting to her there, you can see she's had a bit of what you call the old school, really, and talking about her early training days, the facilities that were available then, and just how the women's game has developed over the last few years, and how it's growing, and she's going to be a big part of that moving forward. Was it 161 caps under her belt? A lot of years at the top level, won a lot of trophies. So yeah, she'll be a big positive for females football moving forward.
Okay then, thanks very much, Danny, and thanks to you for listening. Remember to subscribe on all your favourite podcast platforms. We'll be back very soon with another edition of SAFC Unfiltered. We'll see you soon.